First off, as many of you know, I am an independent insurance broker. And basically what that means is that I work with every single major medical carrier in New Hampshire and am able to provide every single major medical product on the market to my clients. The reason that I went independent as opposed to being with a particular company is that as an independent broker, it gives me the most flexibility. I can sit down with my clients, I can help them understand all of the different programs that are out there and really help them make a decision that's based on their needs, not somebody else's agenda, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm independent. The reason I created healthnh.com was that one of the things that I hear most often when I'm out in the field, when I meet new people and tell them what I do, is they say, "We didn't know that there was somebody out there like you. We didn't realize that there was someone that we could go to that could help us through the process." Most people, what do? They go to the web, they put in for a health insurance quote, and then they get maybe 15, 20 different phone calls from the same company. That's frustrating and doesn't really help. Most people don't realize that there are independent brokers. The other big myth that I hear out in the marketplace all of the time that led me to create healthnh.com is that I hear small business owners, self-employed people, those are my bread and butter clients, they say to me all of the time that there are no options for them, that they have no options out there. There's nothing for them. You know, employees of companies have health plans. People who work for state government or federal government have health plans. People who work in the school district have health plans, but the self-employed person has no options, or the individual has no options. I actually think that that is not only far from the truth. The reason I think it's far from the truth is because I believe that self-employed people who own, small business owners have the most options out there in New Hampshire. They can be an individual. They can buy their own health insurance with their own funds, and there are pros and cons to that. Or they can buy health insurance through their business. They can buy into a group plan. I mean, there is a such thing as a group of one, group of two or more, and they can have a group plan through their business. There are pros and cons to both. As an individual, rates, believe it or not, this is again a myth out there. Most people think that as an individual, rates are going to be higher. Well, rates as an individual tend to be lower than as a group. So when I work with individuals, a lot of times they're surprised to see that they can get health insurance for less money than an employer can get health insurance. However, the downside is that availability in New Hampshire is based on medical underwriting, meaning it's based on their health history. However, the opposite side is true with the group plan. It's guaranteed issue. So there are pros and cons to both sides of the fence. And the reason why I say that is when I sit down with a client, I work with individual carriers. There are 3 major medical carriers in the individual market in New Hampshire, and I'm appointed with all 3 of them. I also work with each of the major medical carriers on the group side as well. So for all employer groups, I can work with them. I specialize in working with smaller companies. Those are either self-employed, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even a dozen employees. The reason why I specialize in smaller employees is because nobody pays attention to them. The bigger agencies are always focused on the large groups, the whales, and they don't take the time to work with a small business. I like working with small businesses because I can have a bigger impact. So when you're out there looking for referrals for me, the people that I'm looking for are individuals and families, because I can show them a better way, I can help them understand their health insurance needs, but I'm also looking for self-employed people and small business owners who are either looking for coverage for themselves and their family or coverage for their employees. When I say that I work with every major medical carrier, what I mean by that is major medical is a type of plan, and in the eyes of the New Hampshire Insurance Commission, there are certain criteria that it has to meet. And that means that it's a comprehensive plan that covers everything from one's routine care to catastrophic, whether it be coverage that's received in a doctor's office or coverage that is received in a hospital. So that is the most comprehensive type of plan. Now, in New Hampshire, when you look at major medical, there are different types. There's HMOs, PPOs, HSAs are the newest type. These are all major medical plans. What's different between these plan designs, they all cover the same things. How they differ is how the insurance company and the insured pay for services. The cost sharing is what's different. What I do is I help people understand this. You may have heard 2 weeks ago, Dwight Simmons came into the group and he had given me a testimonial. He said that I was able to save a parishioner in his church, a church employee. I saved the church many thousands of dollars, over $10,000 in a year. You may wonder how that happens. Well, that's with a new strategy called an HSA. An HSA is a major medical plan, meaning it covers everything that a traditional health insurance plan would. However, it's a different concept. What you do is a family says, I can afford X number of dollars of health care. And then they buy an insurance policy to cover 100% of all of their health care for their entire family from $1 beyond that line in the sand to infinity. And the federal government, to incentivize people to go in this direction, is allowing them to open up a bank account where deposits into this bank account reduce their taxable income. It comes right off the top on Form 1040. And for a family, they can put up to $5,950 a year into this account in 2009, tax-free, as long as those funds are used for health care expenses. So how does this save the church money? Well, the church was paying they were paying for a family of 3, 2 adults that were 35 and a 2-year-old. They were paying on a plan out of New York State with Empire Blue Cross and Blue Shield, $1,800 a month. Now that is pretty typical in other markets. In the group market here in New Hampshire, I was able to reduce that payment, if they wanted to go apples to apples, exactly the same plan, down to $1,400 a month, which still would have been about $16,000, $17,000 a year. Now what we did was we put together an HSA program. They took a $5,700 deductible. That is their family expense for the year, which sounds very high, sounds very scary. The policy, the premium for that program was $379. So they have $379 in health insurance premium, and they have the first $5,700 a year in medical expenses. Well, let's take that $5,700 and divide it by 12. We come up with $475. So if they add $379 to $475, that is a monthly rate to get them to their entire medical expense for the year. That factors in their deductible, meeting that deductible, and it factors in, of course, their health insurance premium. So what that does is basically, if we add $379 to $475, what do we come up with? Does anyone have a calculator? $854. So with $854 a month, which is far less than the group insurance premium alone on a traditional group plan, that factors in not only their health insurance premium, but that factors in all of their medical expenses for the year. In a catastrophic year, it's not going to cost them, if something major happens, say God forbid someone has cancer, something that racks up a lot of expenses in a hospital and a lot of doctor visits, it's not going to go any higher than that $854 a month. Now, if they have a really good year, say that family racks up $2,700 worth of medical expenses. They had a few office visits, some prescriptions, every single person had a physical exam. Well, you know what? With that $854 a month, they still have $3,000 sitting in this HSA to be used for the future. And that money rolls over year to year to year. So in a good year, they're much better off because they didn't spend all of their money. They have money left over for the future. So they actually built a savings with that premium in their mindset of $854 a month, $379 for the health insurance, and then $475 to meet their HSA contribution. In a bad year, in a catastrophic year, they still spent less money because they spent less in premium than the premium alone on the other side, and they don't have any additional expenses, no co-pays, everything, because that's all factored in. So that's one healthcare strategy. The reason I tell you that story is that when I'm looking for referrals, I'm looking for people that want someone to sit down and help them understand the different things that are out there, look at all of their healthcare expenses as a whole, and figure out what is the best course of action, and of course, who is the best company to go with.